everyone, it's me, Crafty Witch, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, because it's fall for those of us here in the Northern Hemisphere, I just want to talk about things that our family has always done during the fall. And well, technically for our family, we start preparing for fall and winter in August. So our preparations start in the summertime. And so that is just a tradition that we have had, just given the living situation. So at the time we were living out at the farm, we had a wood stove for heat, and we lived in a real rickety old little shack. So we needed to start preparing for winter during the summertime. And we would always think ahead, like, okay, this is what we need. And some of those things would be like really mundane stuff. So like we would make sure we had enough wood chopped and stacked to last us the whole entire winter, to heat the whole house upstairs and downstairs. We would make sure that we had sealed up all the windows with plastic. We would make sure that we had done some prepping with regards just to like things like food, pet food, medications, other supplies, and things like that. Another really important thing that we would do is we would, every spring and fall, we would do an inventory, a magical inventory, and a mundane inventory of stuff we needed. So when I said about prepping for food and stuff like that, and then the wood and all that, that would be on a more mundane level. Because of where we lived, if you ever got snowed in out in the middle of nowhere, literally, you're not in a town, you're not in a city, you live out in the country somewhere, and you get snowed in here in Canada, and it's, you know, sometimes it's minus 40, sometimes it's even colder than that. So it's really important that you have enough supplies on hand to get you through until the snow plows come and clean the roads and that kind of thing. So anyway, that's just been part of our yearly practice. It's something we've always done. It's just what we do. And then when we incorporate the magical component to that, we do an inventory, like I said, every spring, every fall, of our magical supplies. So we make sure that if we're running low or if we are completely out of an item, then we add that to the list of stuff we need to get. We want to make sure we have enough magical supplies to last us throughout the winter. Things were a little bit different back then. We did not have Amazon. We just couldn't go and order stuff online. Now it's a lot easier to get those items year round, and you don't need to worry about having to wait until maybe you attend a certain ceremony with other like-minded people to try to trade or acquire those items, or to go to some magical shop somewhere that might have those items. And in the wintertime, like, I don't travel anywhere. I stay put. So I don't like to travel in the wintertime. That's just me. Anyway, that's what we do. So like I said, personally in our family, we start preparing in August. So in August, I start doing an inventory, both mundane and magical. What do we need? What are we low on? What do we got to get? And then you can probably hear the dog whining. And then I'll go and start getting those items. And then so I just thought that might be something you guys might want to do. Another thing to consider too is also preparing your vehicle. What inventory do you need for your vehicle, especially for those of us that live here in the Northern Hemisphere? We get winter, it gets cold. Where I live, I think the coldest I can remember it ever being was minus 52 Celsius, which is super cold. That's with the wind chill. And it can hit like minus 40 something without the wind chill. So it gets pretty darn cold. and like you just freeze. Like it's cold. So we would also look at our vehicles. We got to get them winterized, put on those winter tires. Do we have booster cables in our vehicle? Do we have a winter emergency kit with maybe some candles, a tin cup, maybe some hard chocolate bars? Do we have a blanket in there, maybe some extra mittens or something, just in case something should ever happen, in case maybe you hit a deer on the highway and then you're stranded somewhere until help can arrive. You want to make sure that you can keep warm and have those supplies on hand. So those are all things that we do, but then we also incorporate the magical aspect of that too. And with spring and fall, we believe those are two extremely, extremely potent and powerful times for magic, for magical ingredients like herbs and resins and that kind of thing. And those, like we do a lot of protection. Other people might call it warding or shielding and different things like that. The premise is basically the same. We want to protect our home, ourselves, our vehicles, and this is when we like to renew things. So we will bury protection in the four coordinates, in the four directions of our property, and then around the house itself. So that's like one layer of protection. It's like an onion. You just kind of peel back the layers. And I've talked about this in other videos going back however long. But you want to do it in layers. So the one layer, one circle protection would be around the perimeter of the property that you happen to be living on. The next layer would be around the outside of your home that you live in. The next layer would be on the immediate inside of your home, all along like your walls and everything. And then like it keeps going like that. And then from there you could do it for each room. And then from there you could even create protection for yourself to wear. I've talked about making a protector and what goes in that kind of thing, and how to wear it and whatnot. So you could check out those videos. But this is when we start kind of renewing our protection again. And currently we have some really decent weather, like it's sunny. We don't have any snow. Sometimes we have lots of snow by now, and sometimes we don't have any. So you want to kind of get this stuff done before you have snow, or before the ground is so frozen that you can't bury or dig up anything. So ideally, you'd want to start doing this perhaps in September, the later part of August, going into September. And it really depends on where you live and what the weather is like. If you live in a very kind of moderate climate where it's fairly nice for a long period of time, maybe you live somewhere where you don't get any snow till the end of November, or somewhere where you don't even get snow, you're lucky. So you can kind of do this anytime. But for those of us that deal with the snow and the ice and all the fun and joy that brings, we need to take those things into consideration and remember the timing, and pay close attention to our weather. Today is the 30th of October, and I've just put it off. The weather's still nice, but I gotta get my own butt in gear, because if I wait too long, the ground will freeze, there will be ice, there will be snow, and I won't be able to bury anything in the ground unless I have a little fire lit kind of thing. So it's just really important to get those kinds of things done ahead of time. And like I said, for my family, we start doing this in like August and carry on right through August and September. And usually by this time of year, we are completely done and set. We've got more than enough supplies and everything. So I just wanted to put that out there. It's that time of year for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere to just take that inventory. Do the mundane inventory, do your magical inventory. Do not forget to include your vehicle or your mode of transportation, whatever that is. Make sure you ensure that your vehicle is safe. That's like the modern day horse, right? So it gets you from point A to point B. Make sure you got what you need for that vehicle as well, especially if you do travel in extreme temperatures and things like that. And another thing that I like to keep in my vehicle that my mom and my grandparents and my aunts and other relatives have always kept in our vehicles, we always kept things like sage or sweetgrass in our vehicles. We also have certain talismans in our vehicles. It might be feathers, it might be little medicine bundles or sachets that we create, or mojo bags, whatever you want to call it. And we would keep that in our glove box. So you might want to have like a little tiny zip up pencil case or makeup kit or something like that, and then put those kind of supplies in there, stuff that won't freeze. Maybe include some matches, a lighter, some sort of protective type of incense, maybe a little container of salt. You might want to, just include things like that in there so that should something happen while you are, 3, 4, 5, 10 hours away from home, that if anything were to happen, at least you would have some supplies like that to carry with you in order to kind of tide you over until you made your way back home. So we've been in situations like that in the past where we've had family members, say, travel somewhere and they're far from home, and maybe all they had in their vehicle was like a braid of sweetgrass. A lot of people put it on the dash, or they might hang it from their rearview mirror, or they might put a little bundle of sage in their glove box, so that if they needed to smudge or anything like that, they would have it available. Well, this person had that. However, they didn't have the other things that was more stronger for more of a banishing type or more of an exorcism type of need to it kind of thing, right? So they only had like just for more of a gentle type of cleansing. So lesson learned from that situation. So we always make sure we have those type of supplies. Just, and it doesn't take much space. It could be a pencil case. It could be a little makeup case that you could get from the dollar store, and you just put those supplies in there, throw it in your glove box. You don't even know it's there. It doesn't take up any space really, and you're good to go. And at least you always have that on hand. So that's just something to consider. You might want to incorporate something like that into your own practice. Maybe, maybe not. But just putting that out there anyway. So it's that time of year. Do your inventories, folks. Make sure you have your magical supplies ready. And with those magical supplies, when I talk about inventory, make sure you check all of your herbs. Check out your own apothecary. I had a hard time spitting that word out. Your herbs, your resins, your plant materials. Check out what animal ingredients you need, or for those of you that work with animal parts, I do. So, do you have all that stuff in order? So some of you might work with feathers, some of you might work with animal bones, some of you might work with claws and talons and skulls and all that kind of fun stuff. And for those of you that do, make sure you know where those things are. Make sure it's readily accessible. Perhaps you've used something and you need more of it. I collect cat whiskers too as they fall out. I would never ever pluck a whisker from a living animal just to have it for my own magical purpose. But I do find them. I'm living with 3 cats currently and 1 dog. And I find them on my bed, and it could be from them just grooming themselves, and all of a sudden there's a little whisker there. So like I save that and I'll use that. And make sure you take an inventory of those ingredients as well as things like various supplies, like your candles, your cords, your ribbons, charcoal discs, your string, matches, lighters, that type of thing. Another thing that we do is the fall cleaning. So then we clean the house on a mundane level, and then we do that spiritual cleansing and protection at the same time. Right after we do the physical cleaning of the home. And I've already talked, I'm just looking at my notes. I've already talked about the vehicles, the charm sachets. Yeah. And that can also include, like, for protection. I have in here, like, inside, outside of the home, including your yard, like the perimeter of your property. Could be charms, sachets, amulets, statuary, witches, bottles. There's a wide variety. Like, there's so many different things that you can use for protection. Eggs is a very common one too. Having a little bowl of salt in each room is another common one that people have used. There's a wide variety. Like, really, your imagination is the limit. So if you have a very unlimited imagination, there's a wide variety of things that you can use during this time of year for protecting your home, your property, your vehicle, and yourself. So that is just my video for today. I know I've done one like this, I think last year or the year before, and I think I've talked about it in other years or whatever, and it's probably something I'm going to do every bloody year. So that's it for now. I hope you guys are all doing well. Take care. Ciao.